moments where Supercell completely betrayed their own players. From updates that tricked free-to-play players to shop offers that looked generous but were actually traps, to mechanics that seemed designed to frustrate you into spending, these weren't accidents. They were calculated moves that pushed the limits of what a game could get away with. And today, we're exposing 5 times Clash Royale scammed its own community. Not once, not twice, but over and over again. Let's get into it. Number 5. The Goblin update that tricked everyone. Let's start with something minor and work our way up from there. At the beginning of 2024, Clash Royale kicked off the year with a massive update that revolved entirely around goblins, easily the most goblin-centric content the game had ever seen. To give you the whole picture, the game icon was Goblin. Their avatars across every social media platform was Goblin. They updated goofy goblin videos on YouTube and Twitter. And yes, I will forever refuse to call it X. This wasn't a minor tweak or a seasonal event, it was a full-blown takeover. 3 new cards were introduced, a themed limited-time ladder was added, and everything from gameplay to visuals screamed goblin chaos. Flashy animations, wild energy, and a green overload gave the game a fresh, but unstable, flavor. Supercell even went as far as producing an animated short featuring the Goblin Queen claiming her throne, setting the stage for what was supposed to be a landmark update. At the core of it all was a spell called Goblin Curse, a game-changing mechanic that transformed enemy troops into goblins while cursed troops received a 50% damage amplification. Meaning they took 50% more damage from all sources. Whether used defensively or aggressively, it was nearly impossible to deal with effectively. Within days, it was in every deck. Countering it was tough. Playing around it was worse. But that wasn't all. 2 brand new Goblin troops also dropped. Goblin Machine, a 5-elixir legendary troop that combines a melee tank with a long-range rocket attack. And also the Goblin Demolisher, a slow-moving, tanky unit capable of dealing tower damage even after you took it out, thanks to its explosive death effect. On their own, they were interesting. Together, they completely flipped the meta on its head. It didn't matter what ladder you were on or what challenge you queued into. Matches started looking the same. Either you ran the Goblin cards or you built something specifically to survive them. The result? The game lost its diversity basically overnight. And to top it off, they introduced the Goblin Ladder, a limited-time mode with exclusive unlocks, tower skins, emotes, and rewards tied to the new cards. It was a fun concept, but quickly became a chore. Players burned through it out of FOMO rather than enjoyment. Then came the shop bundles because, well, of course they did. Day 1 of the update, the store was overflowing with premium offers. All 3 new Goblin cards, evolution tokens, wild cards galore. And right after many players had bought in, of course, boom. Nerfs. Goblin Curse got toned down, the Demolisher's explosion radius was cut, Goblin Machine became useless overnight. The timing felt strategic. By the time those nerfs hit, the environment was already wrecked. It created this wave of frustration. Pay-to-win players soared through the first few days, while free-to-play players, they struggled. Many accused Supercell of knowingly selling broken cards, then pulling the rug out with balance changes immediately after cashing in. And this is something Supercell has done many times. Whether it's the new broken evolution that will get nerfed in a few days, a new character, or how about just skipping the grind entirely and buying the reward in the shop. Some of the shop offers weren't even that good and way too overpriced. They're getting worse and worse. Supercell knew exactly what they were doing with these Goblin Update shop bundles, and for many in the community, especially pay-to-wins, it was the moment they realized the game wasn't just being careless. It was deliberately taking advantage of them. Number 4. Pass Royale. From game changer to cash grab. Next, let's talk about Pass Royale, the premium experience Supercell promised us. You pay a little money to get a bunch of perks, right? Well, that used to be true until the rewards got gutted and the price tag stayed nice and cozy. I mean, later on it even jumped up. When Pass Royale launched back in 2019, it was a game changer. literally. Before that, progression in Clash Royale felt like a chore.
I remember the
You'd
free
grind
book
out
of
random
cards.
chests,
That
maybe
was an
get something
insane
good,
time.
maybe not. Quests were short-lived, rewards felt inconsistent, and most players were just stuck waiting. Then came Pass Royale. For the first time ever, Clash Royale gave players a clear path, a reward track that made every match feel like progress. Molded after the Battle Pass system, Supercell's version was tight, rewarding, and surprisingly fair. For just a few dollars, you could unlock a full season of rewards. Tower skins, banners, chests, gold, gems. It was all there. It wasn't just flashy, it was honest. You knew what you were getting, and it actually felt good. Even the free track gave solid rewards. You weren't punished for not playing, and paying players weren't massively overpowered. It struck a perfect balance. Back then, Pass Royale wasn't just a monetization tool, it was a player experience enhancer for just a few bucks for the season. But that was 2019. Fast forward to 2023, and that beautiful system was absolutely gutted. Supercell split the once $5 pass into 3 confusing tiers: free, but worse than it was before, gold for $6, and diamond for $12. And with that came a massive cut in actual value. No more book of cards, book of books, or even royal wild chests. Instead, a couple of banners and maybe a champion you didn't even need King level 14 for anymore. It was the most blatantly pay-to-win version of Pass Royale that we had ever seen. This happened during the Update for Losers update, which, as all of you know, is one of the most, if not the biggest, controversial update Supercell has ever released. And this Pass Royale change played a massive role in it. The community backlash was immediate. Players called it out for what it was, a greedy redesign disguised as an upgrade. I mean, think about it. How could they decrease the value while increasing the price? It just made no sense. But that wasn't the last time they'd be touching Pass Royale. Oh no. They touched it and ruined it again in 2025. In 2025, they tried to revamp it again in the April update. The update where Supercell completely changed Clash Royale. This was the update that also removed the season shop, chests. I mean, on the surface, it kind of seemed like a step forward. Free tier players now get 2 wild shards instead of 1. Sounds pretty good, right? Except the royal and legendary wild chests, those were gone. The diamond pass nerfed beyond recognition. Fewer gems, less gold, fewer cards, and the total reward value slashed by a whopping 19%. Royal API broke it down in a blog post, showing how progression of every type of player was practically cut in half. Not just free-to-play players, you can see that even paying players got stabbed in the back. What began as a player-friendly reward system is now just another cog in Supercell's monetization machine, a perfect example of how a once great idea can be stripped down tier by tier for maximum corporate profit. And the worst part? They're not alone. Nearly every major game with the Battle Pass is kind of doing the same thing. It's becoming normalized. So when Supercell pulls stunts like this, it doesn't even seem that bad by comparison. But make no mistake, players are still losing. And that's exactly why Pass Royale deserves its spot on this list. Number 3. Supercell's silent betrayal of 9,000 players. In one of Clash Royale's most frustrating missteps in 2025, 9,000 players who placed in the top 10,000 during the Retro Royale event were left completely unrewarded. No badge, no recognition, nothing. At first glance, that might not sound like a big deal, but for competitive players, badges are more than just cosmetics. They're a mark of achievement, something to show on their profile after grinding for hours. And here's the kicker, Supercell didn't say anything in advance about badges not being awarded. In the 2v2 ladder event, players who finished in the top 10k received a special badge. So naturally, the community assumed Retro Royale would offer the same. It didn't. Even players who placed as high as top 2,500 got nothing. Just a generic Retro Royale competitor badge that anyone could get with 30 wins. That meant that casual players and top finishers were rewarded the same, despite the massive difference in effort. And Supercell's reasoning? They responded to some players saying it wasn't meant to be competitive, it was about nostalgia. But if it wasn't competitive, then why was there a leaderboard? Why show rankings at all? Why did top 1,000 players still get a numbered badge? The logic didn't really add up, and the silence just made it worse. Thousands of players grinned, thinking they'd earn a reward like in previous events. Instead, they got deceived and the community let Supercell hear it. Reddit blew up and comments flooded in. Even prominent players and creators cried out. One finished top 1,000 and did get the badge, but openly said that those in the top 10K deserved one too. And the bigger issue, it highlighted the lack of communication from Supercell once again. It really makes you wish back those good old days where Drew and Seth actually cared about the community feedback. Things weren't always perfect even with them, true, but at least it was way better than this. Now it just feels like there are no community managers at all for this game, and Supercell kind of just does whatever they want with the game, expecting players to also follow along and enjoy it. For many players, this isn't just a missing badge, it was a broken promise. And yet another example of Supercell losing touch with its competitive community. Now time for one of the biggest scams ever. Number 2, Clash Royale, the event that tricked everyone. At first glance, it looked like Clash Royale had finally done something truly generous. Supercell announced Clash Royale, a surprise event packed to the brim with massive discounts and rewards, 50% off all card upgrades, endless gold rush events, stacked limited time challenges, daily free gifts. Players were stunned in a good way. For once, it felt like Supercell was giving back to their community. The event was announced on October 17th, 2021, and within hours, players flooded back to the game. People were grinding like crazy. Gold was being spent by the millions, books of cards, some say for months, were used without hesitation. Chests were opened, decks were maxed. Everyone thought this is it. This is Clash Royale's Hammer Jam, and that comparison made sense because in Clash of Clans, Hammer Jam events are always right before the introduction of a brand new Town Hall level. So naturally, people assumed this might be the calm before a major update. But Supercell stepped in to clarify that no new levels were planned for the game in the foreseeable future. They doubled down. They poured everything they had into upgrades, gold, gems, and even real money. After all, who wants to miss out on the best upgrade event in Clash Royale history? Then came October 21st, only 4 days into Clash Royale. Level 14 was coming. Everything people thought they knew about the event instantly collapsed. So here's what changed. Card upgrade costs reduced even further, after the players had already upgraded. The number of cards required dropped significantly. For example, going from level 12 to 13 used to need 5,000 commons. After the update, just 3,000. But level 14, it now required the same 5,000. Basically just pushing the grind one step higher. Gold prices also got cut after the event was already halfway over. The result, if you maxed out cards during Clash Royale, you were effectively scammed. You paid full price during what you thought was the best time to upgrade. Turns out the real discounts came after, not during the event. Players who waited, they got more value for less effort and spending. They upgraded smarter, faster, and cheaper. Meanwhile, those who trusted Supercell's word, who went all in during the hype, they got burned. Millions of gold wasted, rare and legendary cards spent inefficiently, magic items gone forever. People who had saved for months were left furious. Backlash exploded across Reddit, YouTube, Twitter, I mean, you name it. Top creators called it one of the most dishonest moves in the game's history. Supercell eventually responded, a half-hearted apology, some card compensation, a bit of gold. But the trust, it was already broken. Players felt tricked, lied to, and not just in the bad update kind of way. This felt intentional. No, Clash Royale wasn't the worst update ever, but it might have been the most manipulative. It taught the community a pretty harsh lesson. Even the most generous-looking events could come with a hidden price. This easily could have been avoided if Supercell announced that yes, indeed, level 14 was coming. People would have saved their resources for when the new level came, and everything would have been great. But no, once again, they failed to warn the community. I mean, beyond that, they straight up lied. And that is why Clash Royale easily earns its place on this list. Not for just what it did to the game, but for what it did to the community's already breaking trust. The next one is, again, about another king level. Something no one asked for, but yet we still got. Number 1. Level 15. The paywall that broke the game. Supercell called it the No Gold update. No more coins to upgrade cards. Instead, a brand new currency was introduced. Elite Wildcards. It sounded fair at first, maybe even refreshing. But then, it launched. From 14 to 15, you needed 50,000 Elite Wildcards. Let that number sink in. 50,000. Now, here's where things go completely off the rails. Let's say you somehow get a duplicate champion, the rarest and hardest card to pull in the game. How many wildcards do you think you get from that? Only 500. Yeah, 500. So if you do the math, you need